One of the most important programming topics we're going to study is what's called a for loop. And for loops are important because they're what enable us to repeat a command multiple times. So let me give you an example. I'm not easily able to write for loops in the command window, so I'm always going to do it in a script or a function. Let me just start out with a script. So here's an example of a for loop. I write something like for I equals 1 up to 10. Okay, then I'm going to say display I. I put a semicolon after it because I'm in the habit of putting semicolons after commands, but it would work the same way if I didn't have that. Now I'm going to save it. I'll save it as my underscore script. Okay, now if I want to run this script, I go back to the command window and I type in the name of the file without the .m at the end. So I type in my script. So what did it do? It displayed 1, 2, 3, so on like that. For I equals 1 up to 10, it displayed I. So let me show you a slightly different example. What if I had this I inside of single apostrophes, okay, single quotation marks? What difference would that make? So let me show you. So I've saved it. Now I'm going to go back to the command window, and I'm going to run it again. Okay, so the big difference here is that I had I in single quotation marks, so that tells MATLAB, treat this I not as a variable, okay, nothing to do with this variable I up here. Treat it just as a string, just as the single character that's the letter I. Okay, and then from 1 up to 10, so that's just a fancy way of saying 10 times, it printed the letter I. Okay, so if we counted this, it would be 10 times. So if I change this from I equals 1 to 10 to k equals 1 to 10. Okay, now let's run it again. Still works fine. Okay, so it does k equals 1, display I, display the letter I. K equals 2, display I. Okay, what if I took the I out of the single quotation marks now and ran it? What will I get? So what's happening here? What's happening here is that I was defined before. I was defined to be 1, then 2, then 3, all the way up to 10. And so this, because it's in a script, it remembers old commands that were related to the command window. So as an example, let me change this just by writing clear at the front, so telling it to clear all variables. And now let me run it. So what's happening here? Here it's using I as the imaginary number, square root of -1. So this 0 plus 1I, that's like complex number notation. So this was examples in a script. Let me do an example in a function. Okay, functions are what we work with most often. Anytime we want to do something with a lot of complexity, we're going to do it in a function. So let me go up here to new function. And then what do I want this function to do? I wanted to take as input some positive integer n. And then let me call it function hello. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to print hello world n times. So it doesn't need to have any output. I just need it to print something. And how do I do this? I say for, I don't have to use I. Let me use a different letter. How about for a? Okay, this is what's sometimes called a dummy variable. It's just, if you've seen sigma notation from Math 2B or from something else, it's like the letter at the bottom of a sum when we're doing Riemann sums. So for a equals 1 up to n, then I'm going to say display hello world. And then I finish the for loop. You always finish a for loop with the word end. Okay, I save it. I have to save it with the same name as my function. Okay, now let me do my function hello. Okay, if I want MATLAB to auto-complete it, I can just hit tab. And then because there aren't any other functions that start with fn_h, just automatically completes it to my function. And then let me do 8. So that's like telling it print hello world 8 times. And there we go. There's 8 times.